She unlocked her phone for the 30th time in the last hour. No new notifications. No messages. No one checking in. Yet her thumb kept scrolling. Swiping up and down. As if digging for something important in an invisible world. What was driving her to repeat this meaningless action over and over again? She didn't need news updates. Wasn't interested in other people's lives. But couldn't seem to put the phone down. She called it a habit. But in truth, it was a dependency she had never named. In the quiet of the night, when everyone else had long fallen asleep, she stared at the ceiling and asked herself, why do I feel so empty? I have over 2,000 followers. Hundreds of likes on every post. But why does loneliness cling to me so tightly? She didn't cry or scream, she just felt a cold silence deep inside. Like a part of her had died without her noticing. Then she did something she hadn't done in 3 years, she deleted Instagram from her phone. The moment that familiar purple icon disappeared from her screen, her heart raced as if stepping into an entirely unknown place. No one forced her. No challenge awaited. There was no logical reason. She just couldn't pretend anymore. She once believed Instagram connected her to the world. But deep down, she knew she had been wearing a mask, a way to avoid facing herself. Without Instagram, she was suddenly placed in an empty space. No pings. No new stories. No likes to soothe the invisible ache inside. Each passing hour felt like waking from a long and painful dream. But then something strange happened, she began to hear her own inner voice. At first, it was just a faint whisper from a distant place. A question formed inside her mind, why do I need to be seen? Why am I not enough when no one is watching? She recalled the first time she used Instagram. A clumsy, insecure freshman. She posted a photo hoping someone would like it. Hoping to feel worthy. When hearts appeared, she smiled. But that smile was not from true joy, it came from permission to exist in someone else's eyes. That was the moment she lost a part of her freedom. And for years afterward, she never got it back. Without Instagram, she began to notice every small movement of life, birdsong at dawn, distant traffic noises, the warmth of a hot cup of tea in her hands. Nothing was mindlessly scrolling past anymore. She began journaling again. Not to share, but to listen. On a blank page, she wrote a seemingly simple question, if no one is following me, am I still me? A week later, she started sharing her journey with others. Not through filtered photos or shiny stories, but through simple handwritten letters sent through the mail. The responses surprised her. A faraway friend was feeling the same way. A creative industry veteran confessed to battling depression because of social media's feedback loops. She wasn't alone, but she had never given herself the chance to realize it. Instagram made her believe that if she stopped updating, she would be forgotten. But the truth was she had been forgotten even while posting every day, by herself. On the 10th night after deleting the app, she dreamed of a man in a worn cloak standing alone in a quiet square in a bustling city filled with people glued to their screens. He said nothing. He simply looked into her eyes, as if knowing the loneliness she had carried for so long. Suddenly, she asked him in the dream, why do I feel lonely when no one follows me? His answer was gentle yet firm, because you have never learned to look inside yourself without needing anyone else's gaze. She woke up, sweat on her forehead, yet strangely lighter. Not because she had fully overcome her fears, but because she knew she was on the right path. She didn't know what would happen if she went back to Instagram. Maybe someday she would use it again. But no longer as a dopamine addict or a person seeking validation. She would be awake, strong enough to know that no social media can define her. Deleting Instagram won't bring immediate relief. You might feel lost, empty, and hollow. But don't be fooled. It is in that emptiness that your deepest truths can rise. Loneliness is not an enemy. It is a door. And that door only opens when you dare to walk in alone. So the question is no longer, do you dare to delete Instagram? It is, Do you have the courage to face yourself when no one is watching? She hadn't slept properly in days. Every night when she lay down, her mind echoed with familiar sounds, those upbeat tracks from reels. The flickering lights of endless stories still burned behind her eyelids. She didn't understand why she felt so exhausted, especially when she hadn't done anything physically demanding. But there was one thing she couldn't deny: she was drained, not by work or life, but by being constantly present in a place that didn't feel real anymore. Instagram used to be her favorite space. It was where she shared her artwork, her favorite quotes, short videos of quiet moments in her day. She once believed it was a place for connection, creativity, and staying relevant. But slowly, something shifted. Every time she opened the app, the joy she used to feel was replaced with tension. Every story she saw felt like a silent accusation that she wasn't enough. Not pretty enough. Not productive enough. Not interesting enough. She began spending hours editing pictures, finding the right captions, picking the perfect soundtracks for her videos. What started as freedom had turned into invisible pressure. One night, after posting a story and seeing 0 views, 0 interaction, she stared blankly at her phone. The silence from the screen was deafening. And in that moment, without overthinking, she pressed and held the Instagram icon. Deleted it. Just like that. It was gone. No more purple icon. No more red dots. Nothing left to scroll. But what came after was not the relief she had hoped for. The silence was too quiet. There were no pings. No flickers. Nothing to check in the morning. She thought she'd feel lighter. Instead, she felt hollow, disoriented. She didn't know what to do with the empty spaces in her day. With nothing to scroll, she opened the fridge and closed it again, picked up a book, then set it down. Pacing around her room, she looked like someone searching for something incredibly important, yet she had no idea what it was. And in that silence, for the first time in years, she heard a voice. Not a literal one, but something inside her stirred. A sense that she had been running away. Not just from boredom, but from something deeper. From her own discomfort. From loneliness. From a fear of not being seen. She once thought she couldn't live without social media because she was afraid of being forgotten. But now she realized, the one who had forgotten her the most was herself. That voice didn't break her. It didn't make her cry. It simply made her stop. She sat down on the floor. No phone. No headphones. No noise. Just her and herself. And that was the beginning. One quiet afternoon, as she sat by her window with the sunlight stretching across the wooden floor, something strange happened in her mind. It was as if time bent for a moment. And suddenly, she was no longer alone. Across from her, in the stillness of her imagination, sat a man in a simple robe. His eyes were calm, his posture grounded, and his presence unmistakably timeless. It was Marcus Aurelius. She blinked, unsure if she was dreaming. But the moment felt real, more real than anything she had seen online for years. She looked at him and asked, almost whispering, "Why do I feel so lonely now that I've stopped connecting with the world?" Marcus didn't respond immediately. He just looked at her with a softness that didn't pity, only understood. Then, in a voice that felt both ancient and startlingly clear, he said, "It is not loneliness that is hurting you. It is that you have never learned how to be with yourself." The words struck her like a bell in an empty hall. They echoed through the chambers of her heart. She wanted to argue, to explain that people need people, that humans are social beings, but deep inside, she knew what he meant. She remembered all the times she had picked up her phone, not to talk to someone, but just to escape the discomfort of her own silence. The endless swiping, the smiling selfies, the filters. It wasn't about connection. It was about avoidance. She wasn't reaching out to others, she was running away from herself. And now, here in this imaginary conversation, Marcus had given her a truth she had never dared to name. Her throat tightened. "Then what do I do?" she asked, voice trembling. Marcus smiled gently. "You return to yourself. Not by escaping the world, but by facing it without losing your center." That was the climax. That was the breaking point. She didn't need Instagram to be whole. She didn't need stories to feel seen. What she truly needed was to see herself again. And the act of deleting the app, what she thought was a loss, was actually a beginning. A painful, disorienting, but necessary awakening. In that moment, she didn't just understand Stoicism, she lived it. Not in grand declarations, but in quiet courage. She chose discomfort over distraction. She chose presence over performance. And finally, she chose herself. There was no applause, no emotional soundtrack swelling in the background. Just a young woman, sitting in silence while the world continued to spin with taps, swipes, and endless notifications. And in that silence, she no longer felt alone. She felt alive. Viewers, just like her, are led to a conclusion that offers no compromise. It's not that social media is inherently wrong. These platforms are just tools, doors to other worlds. Doors we can open or get lost behind. The real mistake lies in how we've clung to those doors as escape routes from our own emptiness. We don't use social media to connect, we use it to run away from ourselves. And ironically, in this hyper-connected world, more souls are lost than ever before. People always online, yet never truly present. Likes have replaced genuine affirmation. Views have become a substitute for self-worth. But all of it is just a mirage. Reach for it, and it vanishes. Marcus is no longer here, but his wisdom echoes through that space, a quiet, ancient reminder that feels more relevant than ever. He who cannot sit alone is forever in chains. Awakening doesn't begin by deleting an app. It begins the moment you dare to sit with your own emptiness, without rushing to fill it with noise. When you dare to disconnect, not to turn your back on the world, but to finally turn and face yourself. And that is the first step. A step few are willing to take. But once you do, you'll never want to go back. Practical takeaway: 3 steps to practicing digital mindfulness. Step 1, temporarily disconnect from Instagram for 3 days. Each evening, take a few minutes to write down your emotions, urges, and discomforts. Don't judge. Just observe. Step 2, every time you catch yourself about to open the app, pause. Ask yourself, what am I running away from right now? Let the question linger. Let it guide you inward. Step 3, instead of posting a story to be seen or validated, write a single honest sentence in your private journal. Just one. Not to impress, but to return to yourself. Final message: you don't need to disappear from the world. You only need to show up, fully, for yourself.